Welcome back to our discussion on using PostgreSQL. So in this video, I want us to learn two things. And the first one is how do we actually read in a file that contains our SQL statements. So normally we type the commands at the PSQL prompt, but that becomes cumbersome when our SQL statements are very long. All right. So the best thing to do is to always write your SQL commands in a file and then run that file. Okay. So let's do that. So the key thing to remember is wherever your SQL file is located, you must ensure that you are in that directory before issuing the PSQL command. So let me show you. So let me navigate to 3162. Okay. And then I have a directory there named SQL. So I'll cd into SQL. And inside SQL, I have my stocks.txt and I have my stocks.sql. So notice this is an SQL file. So let me show you. Okay, so this is stocks.sql, and it's to create a table named my stocks, and it has symbol, num shares, date acquired. So basically, this is a table that will store information about stocks that I own. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of the stock market, buying stock, selling stock, and so on. So let's assume that this table has three columns: symbol, num shares, and date acquired. What is the symbol for the stock that I own? How many shares did I buy? And when did I buy those shares? Text, integer, and date. And of course, the columns cannot be null. Okay, so I want to read in this command. And of course, you can have as many commands as you want. All right. And PSQL will simply read them one by one. Okay. So for example, if you wanted to create 5 tables, then you would have 5 create table statements. All right. Okay, but for now, it's just one SQL command we have here. Okay, so I need to ensure that I am in the directory where the file is located. Yes, I am. So once I am in that directory, I can now say psql --host localhost. We then specify the database, of course. So --db name. And of course, we have the user name. Okay, my password. Okay, so I will now read in that file. And to read in the file, I will use the meta key, / followed by I, space, and then I simply give the name of the file, which we know is stocks.sql. Notice it ends with an SQL. Okay, and so if I want to check to see what table has been created, it's there. I could check the structure of that table by saying ds. Oops. I forgot to specify the name of the table. ds my stocks. Okay. All right. So there's the structure of my table. All right. So great. That's the first thing we had to do. So you should have learned that. So the next thing we want to do is to read in values into that table. So normally we would do it one by one. We would say something like insert into, but that's cumbersome. What we want to do is to simply read in the data values from some file. Okay, so right here I have a file named stocks.txt, and it's separated by commas. So this is name of the stock, this is how many shares I own, and this is when I bought that stock. We have the year, followed by the month, followed by the day. And month and day, they both have double digits. Okay, so if I have the month 1, it has to be 01. If I have day 1, it has to be 01. That's what I mean by double digits. Okay, normally you'd see that like MM, say YYYY, MM, DD. Okay, all this meaning is the date, the year must always be specified with 4 values, the month 2 values, and the day 2 values. Okay. Okay, so I want to read in these values, and I want to tell PostgreSQL to take them and put them into the my stocks table. Okay, so it's 5 rows. So how do we do that? Well, all we need to do is use the copy command. So I'm going to use the meta key, copy. Okay, and we need to specify into which table we want to load these values. So name of our table is my stocks. Okay, and after we say which table to load the values to, or to import the values to, we're going to say from which file, and the file is stocks.txt. Notice it's in quotes, single quotes. And finally, we need to specify what is the delimiter, so that PostgreSQL knows how to parse or how to separate the different values. All right, and so we will say with delimiter in single quotes a comma. Okay, so semicolon, enter. Okay, so it told me copy 5. So it seems that there were 5 successful rows inserted into our table. We could always verify this by doing a query. So let's say select all from my stocks, and there we have it. We have 5 rows, the symbol, num shares, and data acquired. All right. Okay, and that's the second thing that we were supposed to learn. So the first thing we learned was how to read in a file of SQL commands. And the second thing we learned is how to import data that is in some external file, load it into a table that we have in our database. All right, now the values could be in different formats. Usually it's in a CSV format, meaning a comma separated values. Excel, right? Excel. So if you have a large Excel sheet, you tend to save it as a comma separated value file, .csv. Okay, which is something you all know how to do, right? Simply going to File, Save As, .csv in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. There are 2 takeaways, and you'll get practice in doing these things. I'll see you in the next video.